Let's bring this discussion into studio. For that, I'm joined this evening by Mr. Ben Theron, Outer Portfolio Manager, as well as Tabang Matlomuza, Gauteng COSA's Chairperson, and Zanele Lamwama, Deputy National Convener of Black First Land First Movement. And also joining us from outside of the studio is Mr. Sizwe Pamla, COSATU spokesperson. Good evening to all of our guests this evening, and thank you for joining us here on ANN7 Prime. Ben, let me start with you. There's been marches of this nature called for in the past. They have not been that successful. In your opinion, what's going to make this one any different?
I think there's a building up of pressure in South Africa, and I think tomorrow we will see the masses of South Africa coming together to share, take hands, and actually prove to the president that there is a mass movement building up against him, and it is time to move.
You seem very, very convinced that the masses will be coming out tomorrow. How so?
We've got mobile platforms. People are talking to us directly on a day-to-day basis, and since Monday, everything has been building towards, and everybody's asking us exactly where we are, and everybody is looking forward to tomorrow to actually join us in the different centres to show their support towards this move.
Zanele, I want to get your view with regards to the nationwide shutdown that is being called for tomorrow. What is your initial reaction to this and the success of that?
We have come out clear as a movement that we reject the national shutdown that is being organized against the president of the country tomorrow, particularly because it's led by political parties such as the Democratic Alliance, who are racist organizations who seek to preserve the status quo of this country, who have no agenda on the direction of black people in this country, or radical transformation, rather, of the economy and the return of the land to black people. We reject organizations such as Save South Africa, who only come out to save the country. From who? Who are you saving the country from? Whereas we have had so many occurrences in this country that needed South Africans to unite in this country. That has never happened before. Where was Save South Africa when 34 mining workers were massacred in cold blood in Lomnin? There was never a call for Lomnin to go. But you have a group called Save South Africa, which is led by white CEOs in this country, which seek to preserve the exploitation and the oppression of black people. We are quite clear as a movement that this is an agenda, an imperialist agenda hatched from London to destabilize or to call for a coup where the president of this country, they are advocating that he should be removed from power by undemocratic means. We are totally against that, and we have come out clear as a movement that this march that is being organized tomorrow actually is being used by forces of imperialism to put black people who belong to these different political movements to fight with each other. The only thing that we might see tomorrow is black people fighting each other, and we have come out as a movement to say that black people must not allow to be themselves to be used to call for regime change agenda in this country, because it's not going to benefit black people.
We hear you, Zanele. Ben, I'm going to give you an opportunity to reply to Zanele, but let's hear from COSATU. Joining us from outside of the studio is COSATU spokesperson, Mr. Sizwe Pamla. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you for joining us here on ANN7. A lot of people are slightly confused with regards to COSATU. On the one hand, COSATU has asked for President Jacob Zuma to step down. On the other hand, COSATU has called for people not to get involved in the march tomorrow. Just clarify for us the details, please.
Well, firstly, we just want to remind the organizers, especially the DA, to say we hope before they proceed with their march, they pay respects to Solomon Mahlangu and all people like him who sacrificed actually to make sure that they have this right that they are exercising. Secondly, no, there is no confusion. We have a position on the president. We have communicated that. We have met the president. We are going to continue to engage with the ANC top six. We are going to engage within the alliance. The issue of this march is that there's a lot of hypocrisy here. These organizers, they are organizing black people so that on their behalf, they can help them actually protect their inherited privileges, their ill-gotten wealth. These people are against transformation. This has got nothing to do with the president. For them, it's got everything to do with the ANC and the alliance. One thing that you should never do is to think that you are going to write the script for us as COSAT. We write our own script. We are doing whatever we are doing to rebuild the ANC, to defend the alliance. And as and when we feel that there are outside attacks, we will close ranks, which is what we are doing. So there is no confusion. Our position is that we've already opened platforms, engagement platforms inside the alliance to engage on the issues raised by the CC. So, but what we are not going to allow is a situation where people who actually care very little about black people, the same DA went with the Free Market Foundation to dismantle a collective bargaining. They went to court. They've been trying to take away the workers' right to strike. They are the same organization that opposed minimum wage. Currently, they are fighting the national health insurance that will benefit the poor of this country. So these people, they are not our friends. So the message that we are sending to all of our members and workers, if your employer has given you a time off tomorrow, take that day, you deserve it, and do whatever you need to do at home or spend time with your kids. But don't be a useful idiot where you are going to be used by the hypocrites. We have said nothing about the fact that the private sector in this country is on an investment strike. Big business came out and told us that they are sitting on top of 600 billion rand in this country last year, that they are not willing to invest. That money, it comes from the back of the workers. It's the workers who actually worked hard, who have carried this economy on their backs. So for them to come and tell us that, look at how much money we have made in this country, but we are not prepared, despite the fact that we have got 9 million unemployed people. So where was the outrage at the time when big business came out? Why is it that we didn't hear from these people to say, let us walk to the stock exchange or to the centers of economic power to actually complain about the investment strike that big business announced last year? So
that needs to be asked indeed.
We repeat this again. They should not allow themselves to be used as useful idiots.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Pamla, for your comments. Joining us on the phone line now is Kebi Mapatwe, MKMVA chairperson. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us here on ANN7. As it was stated earlier, there would be marches to Luthuli House, but now that has since changed. What is the position of the MKMVA in regards to the fact that the march will not be moving towards Luthuli House as earlier perceived?
Whether the march is proceeding or not, tomorrow our people are going to Luthuli House. We are calling upon all members of Umkhonto to go to Luthuli House, because we have been talking about this thing of defending Luthuli House. This thing that what we see of the shutdown is the issue of we have been talking about for a long time of the regime change. Now we see it openly that the regime change wants to remove the democratically elected government through undemocratic processes. So we are going to Luthuli House to show the world that we as MKMVA, we fought for this country, we fought for this democracy. We are not going to allow a change of government through undemocratic processes. We are going to show our people that will defend the gains of this revolution. We are not going to allow anything that will change this government that we fought for. People laid their lives down for these freedoms that we are enjoying today. The same freedoms that they are enjoying, these people who want to remove the government of the ANC through undemocratic processes. We are going to be at Luthuli House tomorrow morning. All of us, members of Umkhonto, including the ANC Youth League, including members of the ANC, will be there at Luthuli House.
Mr. Mapatwe, what do you say to people who are of the view that the MKMVA is irresponsible in inciting violence in any way?
We are not inciting any violence. What we are saying, we are calling upon all our members of Umkhonto to come and defend the revolution. So if the revolution is under threat, We are not going to call outside help. We, as members of Umkhonto we took an oath, and members of the African National Congress took an oath. We must rise up to the occasion and defend the gains of this revolution. We cannot fight for this freedom, and at the end, we hand them on a silver plate to the people who never fought. These people are funded by foreign powers that want to see the ANC government out of power. So there's no violence that is going to be there, or irresponsibility from the side of MK. We are acting responsible in defense of our revolution, and will continue doing that in defense also of the President of the African National Congress, President Jacob Zuma.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mapatswe, for your time and for your comments. I just want to bring Thabang, the Gauteng COSAS provincial chairperson, into the conversation. You've heard a lot of comments, a lot of views. What is COSAS' stance with regards to the planned national or nationwide shutdown that is planned for tomorrow?
Thanks. Let me firstly start saluting the entire nation in the spirit of Guerrilla Solomon Kalushi Mahlangu. And also let me state that as the Congress of South African Students, we are the first line of defense of this country, South Africa. And we are saying that as and when was speaking here after this interview, I'm going to join 499 soldiers of COSAS who are deployed to join the MK at Luthuli House for a night vigil in preparation to defend the house, the Luthuli House. The Luthuli House is a national office of the ANC, and then we cannot allow such a bunch of clowns to come and claim that they are embarking on a mass action towards a regime change. We are saying that if these people are claiming that they care for this constitution, then it is time that this constitution changes. We want a redistribution of land. We want economic freedom. We want free education, especially. And President Zuma is the only person, is the only president that we see hope that he will deliver this thing. And as COSAS, we are 100% in support of president because we have full confidence in the president of the country. We are saying that if there's anyone who wants to come or attack the president, they must know that we are watching them as the Congress of South African Students, and then we are not afraid of them. We are going to take to the streets as well tomorrow to defend our national house. We are saying that this Musi Maimani must stop contradicting people inside South Africa. They must stop claiming that they care about the lives of our people, because of our people are still suffering inside our township, and they are not doing anything, especially where they are leading in our township. They are not doing anything, but because of President Jacob Zuma is reaching for change and is reaching for success, they want to come and stop us on that process. We are not going to allow that. We are going there in combat because of during our formation, during the formation of our organization, members of COSAS were also members of the MK, and we are going to support the MK in a call that we are going to defend Luthuli House and going to defend the integrity of the African National Congress, and we're going to defend the country at large, because of the countries under siege from this Western imperialistic who think that they can capture our life through media. We are tired of those people. We are going to tell our people the truth. When they meet us tomorrow, we are going to ensure that there is no black on black violence. We're going to ensure that the only people who are going to leave South Africa are the first people who came here in 1652 with a boat. We are saying that those are people that must leave, and we are very clear and firm as the Congress of South African Students. If there is any march in South Africa, it must be a march that is calling for the redistribution of land. It must be a march calling for free education. It must be a march calling for economic freedom in South Africa. Not any. There's no one who does not have there's no one who has the right.
Thabang, thank you very much for your views. On the phone line, Thabang, I'll allow you to continue a little bit later, but on the phone line now we are joined by the Democratic Alliance spokesperson, Phumzile van Dam. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us here on ANN7 Prime. A question that's been floating around is where was these sort of marches when there was issues of well, apologies there, we seem to have lost Phumzile van Dam on the phone line, but I'm going to bring the conversation back into studio and pose that question to Ben. Also allow you to respond to Zanele, but a question that's been floating around is where was these sort of marches when we heard about the bank collusion, when there was issues of education and land redistribution? Why is it so important to push this sort of agenda and push this sort of march against the president of the country?
Can I just take a step back? We keep on talking about the symptoms rather than the cause. And if you go to our constitution, I hear about the constitution need to change, etc. But this is a powerful constitution, and there are very specific processes need to be followed before the constitution can be changed. The Constitution says that we have a cabinet. There are 400 seats in the cabinet. Once you're elected, you represent 56 million people of South Africa. So 400 people carry the future, the dreams, the aspirations of 56 million people. And once you're elected into this position, you do not represent the ANC. You do not represent the DA. You don't represent anybody. You represent the people of South Africa. So the problem right now is that the people are party political. And we need to get people beyond the party political sphere and actually allow them to take care of the business of the people of South Africa. The ANC, because of the majority, have elected the president. And the president himself said, I do not stand as the president of South Africa first. I stand as the president of ANC first. In saying that, he immediately contradicts the Constitution because he represents in his oath, he swore that he will represent the country and the people of South Africa. Here's the problem. As much as he said he represents the ANC, I've got bad news for the ANC. He's actually left them behind because he's now serving people that nobody knows about. Unnamed sources, unnamed people, families. We don't know who he's representing. He's not representing South Africa, and right now he's not representing even the ANC. There are Saxon world people, Russians. We don't know who he's representing. All we're saying is he's not representing the majority of the people. 56 million people are looking hungry. The actions over the last few weeks screams irresponsibility. This man needs to take accountability, he needs to take responsibility for his actions, and he's avoiding doing that. And it's not about other people shouting at the ANC, at the president. Even his own people are saying, something is wrong. Please tell us who you're reporting to. Who's making the decision behind the scenes? The ANC people are saying that. You talk about the old people of the ANC. They are coming up and saying, something needs to be done because we need responsible leadership. And this is sorely lacking in South Africa. We hear about a lot of money being required for various stuff. It's very interesting that Marikana suddenly is on the table. The Minister of Police very subtly threatens the marchers and say, we do not want another Marikana. He's got the responsibility to take care of law and order, not threaten people. I've just heard of Marikana here. Marikana has very specific processes being followed. And as much as we talk about Marikana, let's talk about the Esedimeni process. Miners were killed, 36 of them, through pure negligence and greed. More than 100 people died in Gauteng. What's not happening about that? What we believe in, due process of the law must be followed. Hence, what we are waiting for is outcomes of those. 18 million grant recipients. What's happening there? It is under President Zuma's watch. Something needs to be done. People need to be held accountable, and nothing is being done.
But you raise questions around, who the president is representing and who's making these decisions for him. What proof is there that the president is not making these decisions by himself?
The results of the decision speak for themselves, not the decisions themselves.
How so?
If you look at the decision to remove the Minister Pravin Gordhan, for the last year, he's done nothing else but trying to avoid a downgrade, making sure that there's enough money in South Africa that can actually flow to the right places so that development can take place. The nuclear deal, beyond a trillion rand at the moment, is the figures quoted. That trillion rand can be used significantly for free education that was quoted here, for housing. Where do we get this money for this? The poor will suffer because we've got to get the money from somewhere, and it goes where? For a nuclear deal, that is not necessary, because if you look at the package of energy that is required for Africa, the nuclear is a small portion required. So money is being misspent, and we need to look at those things.
Well, let's bring Mr. Pamla back into this conversation. We are joined by him via Obi outside of our studio as well. Mr. Pamla, unfortunately, we are running out of time. I just want to allow you to give us your closing remarks with regards to this march that is set for tomorrow. In closing, what do you have to say?
Well, it's simple. The people of South Africa and us in general should understand this is about white arrogance and the sense of entitlement. And it doesn't matter what problems we're facing in this country. We are not going to be dictated to by the DA and by the very same people who are colluding, the funders of this march. And any worker who joins tomorrow, they have every right, they can exercise that. But they should remember, on Monday is back to square one. They will be calling you the names that Penny Sparrow and Helen Zille and Breitenbach have been calling the people of South Africa on Monday.
Mr. Pamela, for your views and comments. I want to thank all of our guests for this evening, Mr. Ben Theron, Outer Portfolio Manager, as well as Thabang Matlomuza, Gauteng COSA's Chairperson, and Zanele Lamwama, Deputy National Convener of the Black First, Land First movement. This is with regards to the nationwide shutdown that is anticipated tomorrow. It has been trending under the hashtag Black Friday. Send us your views and comments. Will you be participating in this sort of march? Do you think that it will be harmful or positive for the country? At ANN7 TV is our Twitter handle. But unfortunately, we have run out of time. More conversations and debates after this quick break. Stay with us.